We're a collaboration of 4 departments within the district: food nutrition services, comprehensive health education, career and technical education, and environmental education. So we all, play a role.
So the farm bots, we got farm bots with a different grant just after COVID, and we got these really cool farm bots. They are a farming robot, so you basically have a raised bed planter, and then there's an arm that moves across the top of it, and you can program it. So the students are learning coding, computer science, and they choose which seeds and where they're going to go.
When you walk in from a long day of class, students are going to be tired, exhausted. The last thing that they want is just to walk in a very drab and bland environment.
We want to see the gardens utilized for all the purposes that benefit students. So there's not only the academic benefits, there's also the benefits to the cafeteria if they share the food.
What's up, everybody? This is the Next Up podcast, and we are hanging out with AMTAB and Lee County today. AMTAB, thank you so much for sponsoring this episode. We definitely appreciate your partnership and making the trip from Chicago, right?
And it's never a bad time to get down to Florida, so we're definitely happy to be here.
You're welcome. So let's go ahead and get some introductions. Let's start at the far end of the table and then come back this way.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Leisha Roy. I work in the Lee County School District here in Fort Myers, Florida. I am the chair of our Healthy Living Collaboration, and we're happy to be here.
Cool. Thanks for being here.
My name is Amy Carroll. I work for the School District of Lee County Food Nutrition Services. I am the coordinator of special projects and student wellness.
And Amy, this is not our first time doing a podcast together, is it?
No.
No?
We're
Quite a
pros.
different setup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You've evolved.
Just a little bit. Connor.
My name is Conor Doyle. I am the marketing manager at AMTAB, and definitely done a few podcasts with you, but always good to be back here.
Podcasts, videos, TV shows, all the things,
All
right?
all the above.
all the
all
things.
above.
Yeah. So what is the Healthy Meals Collaboration?
You want me to go?
Sure.
Okay. Well, I'm the talker of the group, so they kick me under the table when I say to them. So the Healthy Living Collaboration.
I'm sorry, Healthy Living
Yeah,
Collaboration.
yeah. It's all about the names. The Healthy Living Collaboration is something we started a couple years back, working on farm to school, school gardens, smarter lunchrooms. We do all kinds of events throughout the district. We started, we've had gardens in the district for years, and one of your future guests will share a lot more detail about that because she's way more knowledgeable. But we have grown exponentially over the last few years. We literally almost doubled in size. Our produce harvests that we provide into our school cafeterias has doubled in size. And we are getting the amount of support that we're getting out, not only within the school district, but nationwide is I'm in awe of what we've been able to accomplish. And we're a good team. We're that team that works together because we all have a common goal, a common passion, and we know these are the things that are what's best for kids.
So what are you guys growing?
Well, we are growing a little bit of everything. Our 3 main things that we grow would be lettuce, tomatoes, and peppers. Again, Susie will be able to give you an enormous amount of detail on that. I do not claim to be the garden girl. I'm kind of like the human Lego. They are the experts on all of this. I just happen to be apparently good at talking us up and getting us support. So that's pretty much my role.
I love it. Amy, what's your role?
And we're a collaboration of 4 departments within the district: food nutrition services, comprehensive health education, career and technical education, and environmental education. So we all, play a role. Susie's expertise is school gardens. At many of our high schools, we have agriculture certification programs to get these students career ready. We do aquaponic, hydroponic, lettuce towers, raised bed gardening. We have a variety of things going on in our district. And the primary goal of all this is to use the gardens as living classrooms, student-grown produce, which comes into our cafeterias to be served to the students, which fuels our Smarter Lunchroom movement. So it's kind of a full circle collaboration we have going on.
What is a Smarter Lunchroom? Can you dive into that a bit?
A Smarter Lunchroom is just using the cafeteria as just another place of learning. I mean, many students don't even know where their food comes from. To me, that's a critical skill to know. And we've gotten so far removed from growing our own food. How does it grow? Where does it grow? So just, educating the students in that way, in a fun way. A lot of it is just like small psychological changes to get them to make better choices.
One of the things I'll mention, just to piggyback that, about kids not knowing where their food comes from, and we always hear about kids don't want to eat their vegetables. We have kids in our county that are eating things like eggplant and kale served in our cafeteria. Now, I have friends up north, I'm from a small farm community originally, and they're like, wait, kids are eating on purpose? They're eating eggplant and kale? But they know when that serving line has school-grown produce. They know, and they line up.
Yeah,
They line up.
we deliver lettuce from one of our high school gardens to a nearby dual school, which is a K-8 school. Their salad and wrap and sandwich participation goes up like tenfold when we have, you can tell the lettuce tastes amazing, it looks amazing. Like she said, one middle school grew eggplants, and the cafeteria manager did eggplant pizzas. And I was like, oh, I gotta come see this. No, it was
that
a
sounds awesome.
total hit.
Wow.
It was a total hit. So there really is a correlation between the students growing it and the other students knowing it was grown there that drives them to eat it more than just regular produce delivered from California.
Yeah. So Connor, in your line of business, what does a smarter cafeteria look like to you, and how can you guys plug in and support them in their mission?
Well, first, I just have to say every time I come to and visit schools, I am always in awe of what the new things that they're doing, because I always reflect on my high school, and we were not doing that at all. It's one thing to see on social media all the amazing, meals, but, being able to listen about all the different initiatives, combining with so many different departments, I think that's how you get the best out of, school nutrition for your students. But to answer your question, I think what we do at AMTAB is we try to, leverage the space that the students are in. We know the priority reason that they're in the cafeteria, in the food court, is because of the meals. Because a lot of times this is going to be the most important meal that these students are going to be getting over the course of the day. So we want to combine that with a beautiful environment that is filled with, great furniture, where students are going to be able to relax from the hardships of the classes and enjoy these great meals that you guys are all producing. So we realize that it goes hand in hand, and it's a great partnership when we're able to partner with districts that see, the menu is always going to be the number one, but the environment that the students in is also important as well.
So I always have crazy ideas, as you guys know. How cool would it be to design one of your cafeterias with the furniture and decor and everything that looks like maybe a farm where the kids are growing their produce,
That would
and
be
then
outstanding.
and then
That's a
putting
good idea.
like nutrition education content on the tables,
Oh,
things
absolutely.
like that.
Yeah.
And we have also work a lot with Dick and Jane.
Yeah.
And they did a digizine for
Yeah,
us.
I
And
know.
Island Coast was one of the farms featured in that. So that would be beyond amazing. And we try to be very cross-curricular in what we do. Like our logo was designed by a digital design student at one of our high schools. Another one of our high schools had gardens but had trouble watering it. So the engineering students developed an entire solar-powered water pump.
That is
Student,
wild.
referring student.
Students.
Yeah.
Students,
And they
wow.
built what's called a farm bot, which automatically feeds. Is that correct? Is that what it does?
That's
We'll
above
let
my.
Susie-
That's a Susie and a Mary question.
Yeah, but it's like
yeah.
it's amazing how we are involving all these different departments, and it's changing their way of looking at things. Like one of the students at Dunbar High wanted to be a professional football player. Now is all about farming.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
really.
they
Because I
harvest.
don't think they understand how much it is changing and how much technology
Yeah.
is now involved in
Well,
farming.
and lack of awareness for students of knowing what job possibilities are out there, and there's nothing more rewarding than to grow something. We've got some pictures of kids that first harvest. It's their garden's new, first harvest. I've never seen children smile so big over a bunch of dirty radishes in my life, but they were so amazed. And as far as combining all these efforts, like I mentioned before, we have had amazing support. I have not yet had a single negative feedback. We have a local group called the Collaboratory that's working on kind of the social problems in our region. The Sprouts Healthy Living Communities Foundation they want to be there for long-term sustainability. They know the importance of this, and I believe it's my understanding we're the only K through 12 school district. Normally their foundation donates to big universities, nonprofit organizations. We are the first one to receive this kind of support, and we couldn't be prouder. And we're ready to do and grow as much as we can.
Because we are at a spot now where we have made it as far as we can, all of us doing our regular full-time jobs. We now need more manpower. That is going to be really key into helping us expand this. So with the Collaboratory grant and the Sprouts Healthy Communities Foundation grant, that is really going to help us with manpower so we can mentor other schools on how to do it and really spread this throughout the district. We have 83 schools. We're a very large county, so that's going to help tremendously.
So how did you guys get awarded the funds? Like, I didn't even know Sprout gave away money for things like this.
So
I had no idea.
it initially, and Susie will be able to tell you more about it. They were searching for, they do school garden donations to get gardens in schools all over the place, and they happened to see a podcast. And I don't remember what Susie was doing in the podcast, but one of the ladies from Sprouts, Molly, reached out and goes, "This is amazing." So they actually sponsored. Last year we did a build. It was October 14th, 2023. We did a full build at one of our elementary schools, Heights Elementary School, which is in South Fort Myers. They got the hydroponic towers. They have raised beds. They got fruit trees. And Sprouts sent volunteers out, and it was a big day. It was a big garden build day, a huge celebration. So that was amazing. And we have used funds that remained from that initial build to support some of our other gardens. I think they were so impressed by what we have been able to do, what we've been able to accomplish. Like, Amy said, up until this coming year, where we're going to have additional support, although we did add a new assistant manager for school gardens to kind of go be boots on the ground. We were all doing this kind of extra. The fact that the four of us, kind of on the original founding team, are still standing. We cried a lot. I did. I mean, I don't know about the rest of them. I cried a lot.
Were you watering the plants?
We were frustrating. Well, they don't let me. I grew up on a farm, but they don't let me near the gardens because they're like, no, she can kill plastic plants. Just let her go get money and we'll go. But I mean, it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. That's great. So what's the plan moving forward? Like, how are you guys planning on using the money?
Well, we constantly get requests. The other schools, schools across the district are hearing and they're seeing. And they actually held I want to say it was some type of administrative meeting at one of our schools that has a large garden. And they got to tour the garden when they were there. And then the phone starts ringing off the hook because we want a garden, we want a garden, we want a garden. Part of our we have a large committee that meets that's not just with our group, but also community members outside. And the Department of Health last year came to me and said, "Hey, we got $30,000 to spend. Let's spend it." And then she called back the next day and said, "I'm sorry, I was wrong. We have $50,000 to spend." So we picked and we chose 4 schools that kind of met the criteria that the Department of Health was looking for as far as diversity in the building and that sort of thing. And we have 4 schools that we are doing a complete build, just like we did with Heights Elementary, in this fall. In addition, the Harry Chapin Food Bank reached out to the Sanibel School and are basically going to fund a complete garden build there. So right off the bat, we're scrambling to getting 5 new builds going this year
And the funds are going to help provide additional personnel like another assistant manager of school gardens. We have to have people out there training, delivering food. If a garden has a large crop of something, then we get it to the surrounding schools.
And part of our gardens that are coming on board, we met with them from the ag perspective, from the garden perspective, from the health education, and from the cafeterias, that they understand we're getting this funded, we're getting you up and running. Our expectation is we want a commitment. We want your school to have a team. We want your principal, your building supervisor, your cafeteria manager, and your teachers on board, and we want this for a minimum of 3 years. And you agree that the produce that you guys harvest will be going into your cafeterias, because once that starts, what we've seen just in the last few years, it will continue.
And we want to institutionalize the farms as much as the library. If a school has a thriving garden and administration changes, we just don't want that garden shut down. Like, it is part of the school. So that is one of our big goals as well going forward.
And we're very fortunate. Our superintendent and our school board sent letters of support to Sprouts when we went through the application process. I mean, we had letters of support from a variety of different community members. Our Lee Health System here locally is very, very supportive.
The Farm Bureau, Florida.
Rotary, and the Gateway Garden Club, and it's just amazing, that level of support. So as long as we continue with that support and can, like Amy said, get this institutionalized, sky's the limit.
Yeah, if we want to talk more about the gardens themselves and that food being brought into the cafeteria.
That's a Susie.
Let's definitely talk about that then.
Yeah.
You want to bring her on now?
Yeah.
Okay,
All
cool.
right.
Well,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for chatting with
you.
us. Susie, what's up? Welcome to the party.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm glad to be back here at North Fort Myers High School. All 4 of my kids went to school here, and
cool.
it is different from the time they were here in 2012 and 2017. So it's great to see the changes and the improvements.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for what you're doing here, too. I mean, it sounds pretty amazing. Let's talk about produce. So what are you guys growing out there?
So I tried to create a template that could be replicated at different schools. And I know some of the easiest things for students to grow that can be harvested over and over again are lettuce, tomatoes, and peppers. We also grow herbs. And then you can grow broccoli and kale and eggplants and zucchinis and cucumbers and things like that could be used easily in recipes. So that was one criteria. Another was something that could be harvested multiple times. So if you have a continuous harvest going on, you don't have to replant all the time. And we have created training. So I have been holding school garden training since 2017, partnering with UF-APHIS, Extension Office, and Echo, Global Farm, and Naples Botanical Gardens. So by pooling all of our resources and knowledge and bringing in Florida Ag in the classroom, we have curriculum that teachers can use to integrate this into their classes, make it interdisciplinary. And it's also been really rewarding to work interagency to support all this and to have all the best knowledge and practices be implemented right there in the schools.
And FGCU, their agriculture and food forest program provides us 2 interns that really help and have been very beneficial.
Yes, their food forest manager comes out and helps with these trainings. And then we work with their STEM Whitaker Center on campus. And they've provided funding for these student interns to come out, and they help do the research to find out how effective this program is, because we want to see the gardens utilized for all the purposes that benefit students. So there's not only the academic benefits, there's also the benefits to the cafeteria if they share the food. There's mental health benefits because they know that horticultural therapy works. It's calming because daggone it, I'd rather pull some weeds and pull my hair out.
That's true. Well, let's talk about mental health. I know, Connor, that's a big thing for you guys at AMTAB, right?
Right. So we're trying to kind of have students and schools reimagine their space that they're in. When you walk in from a long day of class, students are going to be tired, exhausted. The last thing that they want is just to walk in a very drab and bland environment. So what we try to do is we try to incorporate a lot of color, a lot of school logos, mix and match different furniture options because we want to give students the ability to decide where they want to eat lunch, eat breakfast each and every day. Us as adults, we have the luxury of deciding where we want to go for lunch, where we want to go for dinner every day. Students are getting the same space each and every day. So that's why it's important to offer different variety of where students can enjoy their meals. One day they want to be in the high top table, the next they can be in the booth. And we've noticed that it creates a happier environment for the students that goes hand in hand with everything that you guys are doing with the meals and the garden and everything. So it really is a collaboration between so many different parties, and it has a great impact on the mental health side of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's true because we're both building a sense of community
Right.
and a sense of pride.
Right.
And so the students are seeing their wonderful cafeteria, but they're also seeing the food that's come from what they've grown. And it
Exactly.
builds a sense of self-efficacy and independence that they know how to grow their own food and they're never going to go hungry. So that's really my driving motivation for all this. I want students to know how to do this for themselves, how to eat healthy food, and really build a more healthy life for the future.
So speaking of the food that you guys grow, you mentioned lettuce.
Mm-hmm.
When I came like a year and a half, 2 years ago for the Crunch Day, was that the same lettuce from your guys'
That
farm?
was it. Yes,
Thought
yes.
so.
And they grow a lot of different varieties. So with climate change, that's another eye-opening learning opportunity that they can see what happens with different varieties of lettuce when it's hot outside. We've had to get some grants to get some shade to put over the food so that it doesn't get burned in the sun. So we've been really fortunate to get a USDA grant and several other grants that have allowed us to build these garden spaces. So that's my role, is helping to create the template, create the vision, and to go get some grants. And I work with Mary Graham. She also helps support this whole thing with a lot of different grants. So by working all together and pooling all our resources, we've been able to go much farther than we could ever go by ourselves.
And with so many community partners, it is helping to change the perception of school lunch because it's getting the word out. Prior to myself coming into school nutrition, I worked in healthcare for 20 years. And even as a dietitian, I had no idea that school lunches were what they were. I was completely misinformed. And that misinformation drove my opinions about school lunch, which haunt me to this day.
Right.
Because when I came into this world, I was blown away. Didn't even know there were laws, standards, nothing. So if I'm even in that field of food, okay, and I was unaware, then yes, we have a big job to do to change the perception of school lunches, but it is happening.
It is happening. I'm definitely using that clip right there. Thank you.
That
Preach.
was a good plug. That was good.
So what does it look like in, like, how do you go and get a USDA grant? Because I'm sure there are some people out there that are interested in doing what you guys are doing, but they don't have the funds and they may not know how to apply for a grant like this.
They have a website and they have templates that you can use. They have a turnkey grant that gives you a framework to work with and see what works. We were really fortunate that we already had built our framework by working together, so we jumped right into the implementation grant, which is the highest funding that they give. And we were able to get that. A big part of that is knowing what you really need. You know, having schools and teachers who are willing to participate in that. Because I can think of grandiose ideas all day long, but if I don't have boots on the ground that are willing to implement it, it means nothing. So inspiring the teachers and helping them to realize how important they are and that their input and their professionalism makes all the difference is one of the joys. And so as we bring them into these trainings and give the opportunities to them, they can use their creativity and make these opportunities available to their students. And it's been really great. So I have learned that you can look for grants in a lot of different places. There are a lot of websites that point you to different opportunities, and you just really need to know what your priority list is. What do I really need to make this happen? And ask for the realities.
What does it look like maintaining that grant, though? Because I hear a lot of the work happens like on the backside after you receive it. So there are things you have to do to maintain the grant, correct?
Yes, so you have to keep a lot of records. There's a lot of documentation. You have to have an evaluation system so that you can see if you've really accomplished what you intended to accomplish. So there are a lot of checks and balances with that. But the great part is the communication. because it's really great to celebrate with your community what you've accomplished because of this grant that you're
Yeah.
able to receive.
So speaking of the USDA, we know we have some new standards and regulations, right? And I know a lot of industry members and on the food side are actually using herbs,
Yes,
to
yes.
to meet the requirements and still have food taste delicious. And you guys grow those sorts of things. So what kinds are you growing?
Oh, well, one of the easiest to grow is basil, and you can use that in a lot of different things. And because tomato and basil are so easy to grow, caprese salads are an easy thing to provide. Another one is dill. That's an easy one to grow, and we have a lot of that out there. We've grown a lot of mint. That's not necessarily in the food, but boy, does it make a great tea.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's another simple one. And then we have rosemary, thyme, parsley, some of those basics, and we ask people, what would you like? We're growing some turmeric right now.
Oh, nice.
Working on some ginger, so we're branching out. We have some support from Collier Fruit Growers, and as well as some of the other places. Echo Global Farm has all kinds of unique things that you can incorporate, like moringa, which is really great, really nutritious. So we're trying to learn about all the different opportunities that we have because we're in the tropics.
So why turmeric? Because that's kind of out there.
Turmeric is really beneficial because it helps to combat inflammation, and it's found to be one of those things that is just really good for your health overall. So a lot of people incorporate that. It helps combat some of the things that could affect diabetes. So that's one of the things that we're trying to learn more about so we can provide some of those opportunities.
And one of our high schools, I believe, and Mary can talk more about this, has a pharmacological certification program. So the teacher with that uses her garden more as a medicinal garden, all the things you can grow and how they can be used medicinally.
Yeah.
So that's a wonderful, that's a very unique type of garden we have in that school. So there's so many different types of gardens we have going on.
Yeah, the turmeric question was kind of a loaded question because I know that's just on trend, right?
It is on trend.
It's super on trend. And Connor, you used to be a collegiate baseball player, right?
A little bit.
Yeah, you
little
were.
bit.
You're so humble. But I mean, like, as an athlete, even me too, I played high school sports. I wish I knew about turmeric back in the day because it probably would have gone a long way if I took some.
Oh, I mean, just what students are eating, turmeric, everything is so much different than when I was in school. Like, I wish I had
didn't
a
even know
time
the
machine.
word turmeric.
I can't even smell turmeric right now, so please don't ask me. I wish I had a time machine to go back and just be able to bring everything that you guys are doing here and bring it to our school so we could all take benefits of this. It really is next level, everything that you guys are
These
doing.
students are a much more informed consumer of food than we ever were. So we just did a sushi taste test in a high school. That's going to sell like hotcakes a la carte. And, could you imagine?
That is wild. Sushi?
Sushi,
What kind of
yeah.
sushi was it?
The brand?
Oh, no.
It was like California. I'm not a
California
sushi girl.
rolls?
Like California rolls and a
Okay.
spicy. I think the other one was like a spicy tuna roll. They lined up and we're like, how much would you pay for this? Would you pay this? Yes, 100%. So no, think
That's
about
crazy.
what they have out there and the choices they have, and just the internet alone.
Right, yeah.
Like we said, turmeric. I didn't even taste a pomegranate till I was like 45. I grew up in West Virginia. We had apples, so yeah.
It's come a
So
long way.
you have to take that in consideration too. If you want their participation, you need to know what they like. You need to know what is on trend, which right now it's dill pickle, and provide that to them.
That's wild. Dill pickle, huh?
Dill pickle is
That's
the
it.
trend.
That's it. Dill pickle's
Now that I
so
said
wild.
it, you watch everywhere you go.
Dill
and
pickle.
dill pickle
Everywhere.
everything.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Keep an eye out for it.
Well, speaking of trends, this is a shameless plug because I can do that. We just did a trend report with the Institute of Child Nutrition that you guys can now find if you haven't seen it yet. And I wouldn't be surprised if you see things like turmeric and dill pickle showing up next year in next
Yeah.
year's
Coming to a
report.
school near you,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so crazy. So what does distribution look like? Like, you guys grow all this produce. How are you getting it to the schools and on the menus? What does that whole system look like?
We try to focus on our largest high school gardens. We provide that to their cafeteria first, and then any extra will go to surrounding schools in that area. But again, as we grow, that's where the need for additional manpower is going to come in. We do
Okay.
have a district warehouse that could potentially be used as like a central hub. But that's going to be one of our biggest challenges as we continue to grow, is consistently getting it to schools, because our goal now is consistency.
Yeah.
We have a couple of our high schools, like I said earlier, consistent. When the lettuce starts growing in October, probably, then all the lettuce for that high school is coming from the garden. But it might only go to surrounding schools once a month, right?
Yeah.
So our next step in this is to start getting consistent and then just expand out.
Have you guys started selling back to the community yet? Because there's one district, the Schwabenland in Wisconsin, that actually they do hydroponics, but they have a garden day and they sell back to the community.
So we do have a school that's built a farm stand. They have over 250 hydroponic towers. So they're the ones that have the capacity to provide for the schools nearby. We have a middle school that has for years given to the food bank and provided for families at farm share from their produce. When they have a gazillion collard greens, they're the ones that say, hey, we need help delivering, and we get it out to a dozen other schools for that. So there's some big producing crops like that that we've had to help distribute out to other places. And then this model that we have is a little different from some of the other school districts in Florida who have a farm location that students come out to. My model was to get this school to grow it so that students could build that community together and that they could have that sense of pride in their own garden, and so that we could limit our carbon footprint because you don't have to travel and it's nice and fresh right there. So I'd rather see the students grow it at their own school, eat it at their own school, if at all possible. Even if it's just supplementing something in the cafeteria, they know that they'll help put that there. So I started in an elementary school doing this with third, fourth, fifth graders, and it was successful. So I had that knowledge to draw on when I came to the district level and said, hey, I know how to do this. Do you want to do it? Okay. So that's
And one of our biggest
we
middle
built.
school gardens, their agricultural class is a requirement.
Yeah.
I believe every seventh grader has to take it for one semester.
Yep.
So, that alone is driving that that knowledge in that school of those kids who may not ever have that opportunity.
And now that's a model that other schools want to replicate.
How cool would it be if every single school had their own garden and they were getting fed from that same garden?
That's the dream.
Yeah.
We are on course at last count of all these schools. 75 in the district are doing something.
Wow.
They may not be putting it in the cafeteria yet, but they're doing something.
It might be a pollinator garden, but it's a start.
That's a huge percentage.
And last year at one of our middle schools, we put in 50 lettuce towers right outside the cafeteria, and their science teacher now is taking her classes down using it. She was a little apprehensive at first because, like me, she wasn't a gardener, but she's much more comfortable now, and it's right outside the cafeteria, so that lettuce is feet away.
Yeah.
And the difference for her was the assistant manager for school gardens coming to show up and help her troubleshoot so she wasn't working alone. So that has been the big thing. This whole theme is never work alone, always have a team. And so at the school level, at the district level, at the community level, that has made all the difference.
Yeah, and even some of our, if we want to let Mary talk in a minute, we even have culinary programs as well. So it all works together in getting these certifications. I mean, we have the ag, then we have the engineering students who, I don't remember if we were filming, at one of our schools who developed an entire solar-powered water pump for the garden because they had no way to water it. And can
crazy.
you explain what a farm bot is?
I think Mary should. Come here.
yeah.
It's Mary's turn.
All right.
It's
If
your
that's
turn.
okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because these are the programs she runs. We found that we intersected all the time over these gardens, and so we just started having fun together. Come on up.
All right. Let's swap them out. It was great.
That was a good
Great
transition.
chatting with you. Hi, Mary. Welcome.
Hi, thank
Thanks
you.
for joining us.
Thanks.
So I hear you know about robots.
Oh, I don't know. I know a little bit about robots. So I work with the Career and Technical Education Department for the School District of Lee County, which is how I got involved with the Healthy Living Collaboration, because I help support our agriculture programs. And kind of like we've said, as we came to these different situations, we're like, oh, this garden, they don't have electrical. We need solar. So we'd reach out to our engineering departments, give them a challenge. Can you design a solar pump that can do X, Y, Z? They actually rehabbed theirs at their own school to make it better. and they did such a great job that now we use that as the model, which has enabled us to put gardens in places that we probably couldn't because they didn't have electrical or they didn't have access to water.
That is just
So-
mind blowing. I
Yes.
can't picture kids building solar panels and making robots and all these things
Yeah.
for farming.
So the farm bots, we got farm bots with a different grant just after COVID, and we got these really cool farm bots. They are a farming robot, so you basically have a raised bed planter, and then there's an arm that moves across the top of it, and you can program it. So the students are learning coding, computer science, and they choose which seeds and where they're going to go, and then the robot automatically monitors it. So they know like the pH of the soil, they know how much water it should have, and it will automatically do it. It scans for weeds, and it like buries the weeds. So if something's not programmed to be here, it pushes it underground.
What does it look like?
And is this open for adults to do? Because this sounds awesome. This sounds
No,
great.
to learn.
you should take a visit there.
Yeah.
We had a meeting there, and board members came out, and it was mind-blowing what they had done.
Yes, yeah, they're super cool. They're online. You can check them out. But so all of our agriculture programs have them. When they got shipped to the schools, our agriculture teachers are awesome gardeners, farmers, environmentalists, but they looked at this contraption and they were a little overwhelmed. So again, we reached out to engineering, and our engineering departments have been putting that together. So Dunbar High School, thank you. They put that together for all of our programs.
So, like, does it move around on wheels? Does it have little spider legs? Like, what are we talking
It's
about?
kind of like a tank. So if you have a raised bed, and then on the sides there's like a track,
Oh, okay. that
and
makes
it will roll
sense.
up and down the track. And then there's like a radial arm that goes across the top of it that can move back and forth. And it has, like different attachments. So on the end of the raised bed, you'll have the different attachments, and it might put the watering attachment on or the seed attachment on.
And
yeah.
it's so amazing for the students because, again, going back to community, they're a part of something. Like, they're just not, like, when I was in high school, we had science labs, but they are actually designing these things that are going to be implemented in their own school
Right.
gardens to help grow the food that is going to come back in the cafeteria. So it's like purposeful.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and it's really cool, talking about community. So we have the engineering program assembled them. The agriculture class is using them. They might get help from a computer science class to teach them how to do the coding. And one of the schools, the classroom next door to the agriculture, is a aerospace space exploration course. They're talking about technology for Mars or the moon, and that's the same technology that NASA is looking at, is these farming robots. So the students are learning this, whichever area they're interested in, these skills are transferable to their future.
That is so wild. And I love how you guys are breaking down all these silos that you find in school districts by collaborating together to feed kids with your own farms.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about this logo. It keeps on catching my eye. So you said a student actually designed that?
Yes.
Custom designed
Yep.
in a school.
We did a contest in a digital design class.
Yep. So when we got together, we're like, we need a logo. Like, we keep calling ourselves this. We
Yeah.
need to make it official and get a logo. So yeah, we put a contest out to Island Coast High School. Has one of our largest farms. So we reached out to their digital design class, and their teacher had a contest for the students, and they submitted their entries, and this was the winning one. So
Designed
yes.
by a
That's so
freshman.
cool.
So
Wow.
Freshman.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Wow.
So Connor, you're a marketing guy. Why is it important to have a strong brand and logo?
Because it helps just tell the story of who you guys are and what mission you guys are trying to accomplish. You want, your logo to be representative of who you are and what you're trying to portray. So I think it's great that you guys involve, the student in the design. You guys are very student-centric as far as everything you guys do in the district, and I think they take pride in that, from the logo that they create, from everything that they're growing. So it's just a really great initiative that they have going on here.
Yeah, and I love the fact that it was custom made, not made in Canva, so you could actually use
Yeah.
it like a real logo should be used.
Yeah.
Not to say that you shouldn't use Canva for things, but definitely not for logos if you're trying to build a brand.
It looks
all
great
right?
too. Yeah, it
Yeah.
looks like a great logo.
Well, that's why it's so beneficial to have the Career and Technical Education Department as one of our team members, because like just the digital design, the agriculture, the culinary, I mean, it all falls under that. So yes, we are able to reach out to students of many different disciplines to help in the areas we need.
Yeah, so our goal is always to bring students real world problems to solve. And anytime we can do these, they can see them, they can implement them. We partner with a lot of our business partners, community partners, So we bring the students out to see those businesses. Cicada Seed, they got a tour of seeds and how they harvest them and how they select the right ones and the science behind that. Then they can take it back to their garden, kind of apply that. You never know where a student might find interest. I know we talked about the kid who changed his major from football. It's actually environmental engineering. So like that's a big change. And it's not just, I would say it's not just farming, like they're not all going to go out and be farmers, but environmentalists or water conservation or computer programmers, or, you never know. We're doing drones is our next step.
Oh, what
So
are the drones
drone
gonna do?
technology. Well, farmers use drones, and again, it's computer science and programming, programming these drones to monitor the area, to monitor the crops. Some of our schools are really large. We have 42-minute classes. It takes a long time to get out to the garden, so you can kind of send the drone out there and do a little monitoring.
That is
Crazy.
so cool.
Drones, robots, they do it
Yeah.
all here.
Yeah.
I want to go visit one of these farms.
Yeah.
Take me with you when you go,
Seriously.
please.
Speaking about visiting farms, so I grew up like not knowing anything about agriculture, right? Like nothing at all. And quite frankly, I hated getting my hands dirty, right? So farming was not a thing for me. But then I went to one of my friend's farms. So her name is Kayla Byer. She owns a company called Deeply Rooted, and she's all about regenerative agriculture, right? So she grows crops, and her husband has cattle, right? And I went to their farm, and it was the coolest thing I had ever experienced. I'd never gone to a farm, and like not only was the food delicious, but the lifestyle was cool. And now I kind of want to be a farmer.
Yeah.
So it changed my perspective in my mind.
Yeah, it's amazing. We get our corn cobbettes and green beans from a local farmer, and R.C. Hatton, I don't know if you're familiar with him, but our central office just went and took a field trip of their farms, and it is amazing.
Yeah,
it's just
so cool.
amazing.
And by the way, I had no idea that corn even grew in Florida. Like I see it all in the
Those
Midwest.
Midwest, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was talking with Dick from Dick and Jane,
Yes.
and he was showing me his latest digazine on Florida, and I was like, "Why is there corn in there?"
Yeah.
He was like, "Florida grows a lot of corn."
A
I
lot
had
of
no
sweet corn.
idea.
Yeah.
Good to know.
I had no idea. You've been in a farm, Connor?
I've born and raised in Chicago. I just only farms I passed through Indiana, Iowa. So
Yeah.
definitely, after listening to everybody here, I think that's the next step is for me to get out to a farm
Yeah.
and see everything because that's
And we didn't know, they were like, eat it straight off the cob. It's super good. And it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were all just like, amazing. We were like little kids, so.
The food does taste a million times better when you get it like straight from the ground. So I was at a farm, Nourish Farms in Wisconsin, and there was like a tomato plant growing. He was like, "Oh, try a tomato." I was like, "Okay, cool. Try a tomato." It was delicious.
Yes.
Like that was the first time I ever like it clicked in my head that tomatoes are actually a fruit because it tasted like a fruit.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop eating them. Like it was amazing. Yeah, they were delicious.
Well, and that's why we want the consistency in our cafeterias, because imagine you have 2 weeks straight of garden salads. And then when they come in, they're like, no, that remains not from the garden. And like their participation drops off because it tastes exponentially better. It looks exponentially better. And they can tell.
Yeah. So how do farmers react to you guys having your own gardens? Are they concerned that they're going to have less opportunities to support schools because you guys have your own stuff, or are they like helping you guys out?
I think they love it.
Yeah.
So we've started partnering with the Florida Farm Bureau, our local, and they are, whatever we need, they're here to help. They've come to our meetings. They've gone to the schools. We have a couple partners that have gardens. So you talked about like Chicago. So Emerge Gardens, they do vertical, and it's all verticals. So we have vertical gardens that are indoors. So some of the schools have one like in their cafeteria, so students could like take mint and try it, and they'll come out and they'll help the teachers set those up and make sure that they're successful with it. So they love it. Yeah. Oh yeah, field trips. We take the kids out to see their farms. So yeah,
cool.
again, Cicada Seed, they're growers locally. Yeah.
Connor, you guys got to
Support.
find a way to start including these hydroponic towers and
it-
indoor
exactly
growing spaces.
As soon as we
your
get back to
furniture.
Chicago, we're
Start
going to
working
hit the
on it.
ground running. Yeah.
Yeah.
we'll get
Well, I mean,
blueprints.
you guys make your own stuff. I mean, why not?
I mean, it's collaboration. I mean, we'll definitely consider see what we can do. I'll talk to people, but yeah, it's so cool with the different people that you guys partner with, how diverse it is from the students, from the schools to the principals. Everyone is all on the same page as far as providing great meals and educating the students. So they're doing great stuff.
I mean, you guys have these like really nice circular tables.
Yeah.
Let's put a hydroponic tower right
There
in
we
the
go.
middle of it.
I think
And
we
it
are.
really does change up the environment. We have one in our central office, our main building. When you walk in, the main entrance, there's one, and it does change the whole
Stands
space.
out. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you'd be surprised. Like, you can go, like, steal a couple pieces of basil and throw it on whatever, and it just makes it taste so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was visiting with, I'm going to butcher her last name. She's going to kill me. Caitlin Turinian from Ashwaubenon still. And they have, I don't know how many hydroponic towers they have in this one school. It must be like 30 or 40 or something like that. And it literally changes the environment of
Yes.
the space.
Yeah.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. And it's great being able to walk by and like try pepper or try
Yes.
mint or try whatever you want.
Yeah.
The kids love
I know.
it.
I went on one of the field trips to the field, and I was just like,
Enjoying yourself.
I
Yeah.
know.
It's awesome.
That's great. It adds a little, like, water ambiance in there,
Yeah.
too. And
Yeah,
so
just nature.
good.
Exactly.
Yeah, environment, little mental health.
Right.
Oh, I love it.
Relaxing.
All right,
Which
so
I do think a major driver of our mental health problems is the complete separation from nature. So just trying to bring that back, like we talked about, even for mental health or discipline,
Right.
you know,
that's
getting them out there doing something with their hands.
That's a very valid point, and there's studies behind it. And I'm really surprised we haven't seen more like nature scenes in cafeterias.
Yeah.
I want to walk into a jungle.
No, and I really want to discuss. I really want to discuss more about the.
I know, we bring
tables.
that-
Yeah, that would. I don't know that that's ever been done.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, AmTab could be the first.
We
No,
can,
yeah.
we can be the first. We can
Yeah.
You can be the first, yeah.
Try it out.
So what do you guys? So if you could have anything in the next 5 years, no, 3 years, do 3 years, regarding your guys' collaborative, your program, what would it be?
I think we're on the right track with people. Like they've said before, we're doing this on top of our regular tasks. So to have dedicated people that can really focus on it, it's going to just grow exponentially.
And more
And, yeah.
consistently, like we talked about with the gardens, like the middle school that does have 50 lettuce towers, right? We want that lettuce turning over consistently. So between the months of October and May, which is the majority of the school year,
Right.
they know they're getting that lettuce from the cafeteria. So I feel like we've done great. We've grown it. We've developed community partners, but it's still like very sporadic as to who is getting what produce. So just even if it's a designated 20 schools, starting small, get it consistent, and then go from there. And like they said, as other schools hear about it, they're gonna want it too.
Yeah. Well, this healthy living collaboration, or collaboration, right?
Yeah.
Keep messing it up. I'm sorry, guys. It sounds amazing, and I'm sure a lot of districts across the country are going to want to follow in your footsteps. Are you guys writing like a playbook or anything for them? Like, what are you gonna like? Are you sharing your information? What are you doing?
Oh, we will gladly share any information. I mean, for this to become a new norm, we'd be honored by that. We're not hiding anything, no secrets. We'd gladly share information, and we have kept everything up to date as we've gone.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Well, you guys, thank you so much for the hospitality. Thank you for the conversation, educating us, and for what you guys are doing to change the perception of school meals. You guys are absolutely amazing. This is super cool, and I want to go to a farm
Me too. Take me with
and play with some robots.
Yeah.
Awesome. Come on over.
Pick some produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.